Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel with your hosts, Doug and Jamie.
We are back, and this is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. I hope you enjoyed last week's interview with star of this week's film, Crystal Allen. She was really cool, really down to earth, had a great story about working with David Hasselhoff, and then how he showed up at the premiere that she had at her house. But before we get into this snake film, I have to introduce you to my partner in this sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Doug. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So is this your first time watching anything past Anaconda?
I never saw Anaconda.
Oh.
So this is my first Anaconda.
This is your first foray into it. Okay.
Yeah, I've never seen Sharknado either, but I'm assuming this might be in the same kind of movie as Sharknado's.
I don't know.
I mean, this is definitely, I really haven't seen a movie like this. So
yeah, this is the first movie of this kind. These are like those movies, and I don't know if this got a release in the movie theater. I know the second one did. But this one, I don't know if it did.
I can't imagine this movie getting released.
It reminds me of like a straight to sci-fi movie, Sci-Fi Channel.
So, yeah, right. That's how I would look at it. Now, I've never seen the Anacondas. You've seen the first two?
I saw the first one. The guy that we just interviewed for Rambo, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he was actually in the second one. The second one actually had a pretty big budget because the first one did so well.
So, was this budget less than the other two?
Oh, I hope so.
Because, I mean, was the special effects as good in the first and second one as they are in this one?
The snake in the first one looks a lot better than this one. And okay. I would say in this movie, the way the movie starts, it almost makes me think of there's a bucket full of money. Let's say water is money. And there's a hole in that bucket. Towards the end of the movie, there's not that much water left. And the snakes look worse and worse.
I had a lot of questions about this movie in the beginning. Fortunately, they do answer later on.
Good.
However, I feel like they do a poor job of explaining what the hell is going on.
Oh, dude, there is a part. So there's we'll get into all of it. So this movie, in the beginning of the movie, they show like who's the director and everything. And a guy that we interviewed, Don Fauntleroy, who's like a camera operator that has been... Man, he worked on Terminator 2. He worked on so many amazing movies over the years. And then we're going to interview him about a sequel that he did called Munchie. That's a follow-up to like a horror movie. So that'll be fun. But no, he has some great Seagal stories. So that'll be the next few months.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? I know, that is true. So right in the beginning, we don't see the title screen right away. I'm happy about that. We just see guys with weapons chopping stuff.
Within 2 minutes, I mean, there's a snake attack. I mean, there's and the camera's moving around so fast, you really don't know what's going on. There's just a lot of yelling, shooting, and Hasselhoff. We see Hasselhoff right away, and I'm going to say it now, he is not disappointed. This might be the first Hasselhoff movie I've seen. Now, I know he was in SpongeBob, but this is the first Hasselhoff vehicle I've seen.
He was in SpongeBob? Like him himself?
Yeah. SpongeBob rides him like a surfboard. In the first SpongeBob movie, yes. If you've never seen it, go to YouTube, type in Hasselhoff and SpongeBob, and you'll be amazed at what you see.
That's great. Another movie that I remember him in.
Click.
He was in Click?
He played the boss, I think, in Click.
Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say I remember him he played himself in a lot of movies, but in Dodgeball or Beer League, one of those. Germany. Oh, Beer League. Yeah, Germany loses and he smashes the front of him.
Yeah, but he played like a side. This is kind of he was like a badass in this movie.
He was.
So, I mean, we'll get into Hasselhoff later on.
Yeah, so they're unloading like hundreds and hundreds of rounds on the snake.
Yep.
And it just keeps eating that guy.
Yeah.
And they're just watching him.
Yep. Now, this place, where does it take place? Is it the Amazon?
Oh, there's a lot of questions about that one. Because I thought at one point, they said a line that made me think it was in America.
What did it say?
He was like, oh, let's call the army. Obviously, you say that, I guess, whatever country you're in, army means that country. But just the way he said it, he's like, I'm going to call the army right now. It's like, can you just call the army like that? I don't think that's possible.
All right, well, but I am thinking it is the Amazon. I mean, you got a massive snake. There's a lot of jungle and woods. So let's say the Amazon?
Yeah. So how big would you say this snake was? The first snake we see in this movie. This isn't a later snake. This is a totally different snake.
No, it's the same snake. Because isn't that the one they bring into the facility?
No.
Oh, see, these are the questions.
That's what I mean.
So I was very confused on. I thought they killed the snake, but then later on, they had a snake that was there. So I thought it was the same snake. So I was confused.
No, because they didn't say like years later or something. No, the other snake was. We'll get into it. But no. So Hasselhoff lets the guy. He goes, "This is what you're here for, right?" And the guy has like blood on his face, and he's like. And then I was like, "Wait, was that his pet?" Because Hasselhoff just leaves. They don't kill that snake, do they?
That's why I thought it was a snake they brought in there.
No, I don't think so.
They don't kill it. The snake leaves. The guy's bleeding, but he's not dead. Like, what does snake do to him?
I don't know how I'm more confused now than when I was watching it.
See, I told you. So, yeah. So, I mean, and the camera was moving around so much. Like, it was like a camcorder. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know if anyone's getting eaten or the snake was getting shot. It was very confusing.
But, and then title screen. So we have like one of those intros, and then, okay, cool. This is what we're doing.
But this was literally 2 minutes into the movie, and they were just chaos.
Yeah, the cutaways and the shaky camera thing. I don't understand why movies ever do that. But yeah, so then Crystal Allen, who we interviewed last week, she's just jogging through the woods.
So I wrote that down. She's jogging in the Amazon.
I know. That's what I mean. That's why I thought they were in America now.
But that's why I thought they were in the jungles. I'm like, why is she jogging in the Amazon where these snakes are?
By herself with no weapon.
Right. Yeah.
And then they're showing like the people that are in the movie, the actors, and it's like cutaways to like vials and scientific stuff and people looking at microscopes. And you're like, there's much more to the snake. This isn't just a normal snake movie. This is like a snake on steroids.
Correct. A lot of steroids.
A lot of steroids. So the guy in the back of the car, Mr. Murdoch.
Oh.
Dude, that's Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Is it really?
Yes.
You know what? Now I didn't know that. Yes, he is. Okay. I was trying to figure out where he was from, and now I know. Okay.
And then obviously, what the movie is kind of going to be about, because they just had the radio loud enough for us to hear everything. They're like, genetic testing passed by the government today. That's what I mean. There's American voices, so that's why I thought they were in America.
I guess. I mean, but yeah. I don't
in
know.
2008 was Sirius Radio.
I don't think so.
So in the Amazon, he's just picking up, or what is he having somebody record on CD or tape?
He's like a multi-millionaire, so I mean billionaire. So I mean, he may have the technology.
Maybe the guy's in the trunk just talking.
Could be
giving him the news that he wants to hear.
But they don't explain what the research is.
Oh, none of it.
So I was very confused about this because there's a huge like secret hidden facility in the Amazon. Again, or United
wherever,
States, wherever you want to say, in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
So they don't explain that until later on, and that's that the reveal of what they're doing and why they're doing it. It happens like in the middle of the movie.
I know. No, that's yeah. So the guy, I love the guy, and his name is Pincus. He's nervous and he keeps repeating himself. Hi, Mr. Murdoch. Hello, Mr. Murdoch.
Murdoch treats him so bad, and Pincus is like his whipping boy.
Yeah,
he really is, and he's such like a wussy, and he does everything Murdoch says, but then he becomes a dick later on.
Because, dude,
when Murdoch's not around.
Yeah, the thing that made no sense again. So he's showing up to the facility, and why is he? You almost would think he never met Murdoch before, because the way he is like thinking about, here's how I'm going to say hi to him. Like, your first time you meet like your father-in-law, it's like, how am I going to shake his hand? How am I going to do that? But they know each other.
And have you ever done that before? Like, when you're about to meet someone, like practice saying, hello, Mr. Murdoch. Hello, Mr. Murdoch. Like different voices. Like, have you ever done that before? Like,
yeah, I have.
who are you trying to meet?
Just always I talk to myself.
So you weren't meeting anybody. You just talk to yourself like that?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Big reveal. So he talks about that there's a leak in the company, because obviously the story that was on the news was something that was like something I wasn't listening to anyway. But it was like some big story, something about the genetic testing that was out there. So he tells him, you better figure out who's doing this leak. And I wrote down a great line. The only thing you'll be supervising is a proctologist removing my boot from your rectum.
I wanted to write that down, but I got too fast, and I was paying attention to something else. But yeah, that was a funny line. So
then they go into this room, and the snake's there.
Now, is Amanda back yet?
She's not back yet.
Okay.
So no, they're in the room. You have the other guy in the lab coat, the one doctor, and they're looking at the snake. And again, how big's that area? Because they say already the snake's growing, but at that point, they already call it a 60-foot snake.
Correct.
So they're just like looking at it, and he goes, It's completely emotionless, just like my first wife.
He does. He says it,
and then he says it again right afterwards.
He says it again.
Yeah, because he repeats something else about the snake. He goes, like I said, my first wife.
Wow, she must be proud.
Yeah.
One thing you do one dig, and now you do it twice. Like
I hope she wasn't watching.
Maybe that is true.
That's a line that like the actor who played him really hates his first wife. But so any clue right now? What do they want from these snakes?
All I see is they're testing something with these snakes. I don't know if they were growing them. If they're I honestly had no idea what they're doing. They don't explain it.
Yeah, I know. No, it made no sense because I'm like, why are they looking at them? Why are they like? What are they doing? Obviously, there's something genetic because we heard that already. So,
and why is he so interested in them? You know, like what's his purpose? They don't explain that.
Yeah.
So now Amanda's coming back now. So first of all, she just goes for a jog in the middle of workday in the Amazon,
and comes back with a spaghetti strap shirt on,
and comes back dressed like she's going to the gym, and that's her work attire.
And she's in like a gray. I think she's in at this point. It's either black or white. She's in one of the color guinea tees. Because then, like a few minutes later, she changes.
She changes multiple times.
I know. When?
Well, there's also a reveal later on, and maybe I missed it in the beginning. Does Hasselhoff have a mustache in the beginning of the movie?
No.
He has a cheesy mustache, I thought, at the bar.
Oh, does he?
I thought he did, because I wrote that down.
Oh, so that's a little bit later in the movie. So he's wearing
but he doesn't have it later on in the movie. Unless it was just a shadow. I thought he had a mustache. But
God, that'd be great.
All right. So, yeah, but it's right. So she comes to work in her workout gear.
Yeah.
And then changes within like a couple minutes.
I know. And you don't even see, obviously they're not going to show, just like in movies, they don't show people.
Well, they could show it.
Well, I guess they could, yeah. So then, just like you said before, you write down questions, answers right in a few minutes. So then he talks about like anti-aging and curing diseases, and she really gives Murdoch the business.
Yes,
she's like, we need more containment, we need more employees. And then this guy, who's like you said, he's probably a billionaire. He's like, what do you mean? What does she mean by all this?
Yeah.
It's like, obviously, this takes 60 feet.
Well, he doesn't listen to anybody in that facility at all.
I know.
They tell him not to do things. He does whatever he
wants. Oh my God!
I know. So, and meanwhile, I noticed that the Anaconda is listening because they show you the point of view of the Anaconda's head.
I hate
listening to the people talking. Like it knows what it's talking about.
And it has like it makes the click noises like a velociraptor.
Yeah. Yep.
And then how about when he's talking to her and Murdoch, again, we don't know if he's met these people before because just like Pincus, he acts like he never did. When he grabs Amanda Crystal Allen's arm, just weird.
No, he was
grabs her by the elbow and then like moves her aside and he's like, well, just tell me whatever you need. Or it's like,
yeah, it got a little creepy. Yeah.
But so why the hell? And again, this is a scene that maybe was cut out. They never told him like, don't shine a light on a snake. Why the hell would you want to do it anyway?
And they tell him not to do it and then act surprised when something goes wrong.
Yeah. And then why the snake's breaking the glass. Why aren't they out of that room? Why are they standing there? They're just like waiting for something bad to happen.
And they're telling everybody, just stay calm. How can you stay calm when this glass is breaking, when you have a 60-foot python or anaconda over there? Just stay calm.
They're like, hey, Daryl, come in here. Wouldn't they have that room that they have the caged area?
Yep.
Wouldn't they have the next area caged kind of too?
Yep.
Because there was like a containment door. So then Daryl, the little nerdy guy that, he seemed nice,
Yep.
He gets in there. And this is, they use this so many times in this movie. I know a snake can only do, at least like with Jason Voorhees or Freddy Krueger, there's different ways for them to like take out their victims. In this, there's only a couple things the snake can do. But yeah, the snake busts through the glass, spikes him in the chest.
Now, this is my first question. Obviously gets answered later on, but it stabs the guy with his tail.
Yeah.
I didn't think snakes had a weapon as a tail. I mean, I could whip it, but not through. Like, it literally goes through the guy.
I wrote that down too. Wait, they answer that later?
They do.
Oh, okay.
There's like spikes on the tail. They talk about it because it's like that's why the snake uses it later on. But in the beginning, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Again, so like they don't really explain. So now at this point, Amanda decides to change. So
that's when she changed. Okay.
So she changed. So she figured, you know what? There's a 60-foot anaconda on the loose. I think I should change my outfit.
Yeah. So then this is what I wrote. So I'll say this right now: Crystal Allen, David Hasselhoff, best parts of the movie, and I think they were great in this movie.
Yeah.
But that Pincus guy, terrible. When he's in the room with Murdoch and Crystal Allen comes in and the doctor and they're like, what happened? He's like, Daryl's dead. And I'm like, he almost sounds like he hated Daryl and he's having to pretend that he's sad that Daryl died because that was the worst acting ever.
He was useless the whole movie.
He sucked.
Pincus was horrible. So yeah. And so all the scientists are trained on how to use guns and machine guns and like and the one thing I did notice throughout the whole movie, they use a lot of pistols.
A lot of pistols, and they are really bad at firing guns.
Very bad. But the pistols, you have a 60-foot snake. What is that going to do?
Wouldn't it be like darts? Would they have like big like trank darts or something? Absolutely. No, nothing. Nothing.
Pistols.
So then the snake is in the vent, just like the last movie we did.
Yep.
Like McClane. So the snake is like McClane.
And they had the one guy hearing a noise in the vent. And what is it? He has a pistol. So you know what? You have a 60-foot snake in a tight quartered vent. Let's go check it out.
I know. But again, at this point, the snake looks okay. CGI wise, it looks okay. Man, when the snake gets outside, it gets really, really bad. Oh, that's what I wrote. I just noticed Crystal Allen is now in a white guinea tee. So she went from like gray to white or black to white.
She changes multiple times because she put the jacket on later on.
So this snake, so obviously that you're doing something to genetically to make it get larger, but it would still be a snake. It would still do it. Snakes usually, like a lot of animals, they're gonna kill to eat. This thing's killing to murder. Like that's all it's doing. It's never eating anything. It eats one time.
It doesn't like to eat heads.
It does not.
Yeah. But again, it's genetic. The tail is genetic. I think that's part of it. So, but we'll get to it. All right.
No. So here's a big question that I have. So Crystal Allen and the scientist, Murdoch's already out of there, and he tells Pincus, "You better make sure you take care of this." So Crystal Allen and the scientist running around. They go into a room, windows open. They're like, "Oh, I guess he must have got out." Are you telling me the snake opened the window?
Well, they also go into the tank where the snake was with a pistol and a flashlight. So and then the snake opened it. Well, the snake was able to somehow get inside the vent. How'd they get in the vent?
But it's almost like the snake is smart enough. Pretend to go out the window because the snake wasn't out the window. It was lurking.
Oh, so you're saying the snake did a little trickery?
It's a peeper. It's a Jason. A lot of peeping happen.
You know, I also noticed. I mean, there's a lot of death in this movie, but people don't seem that fazed by the death. Like there's a scene where Murdoch, they walk by the dead body, him and I guess Amanda, and they don't seem fazed. And then he goes, "How are you gonna explain that one?" So I guess they're used to it. I guess they're used to a lot of death in a place.
I guess so because I don't know. Like, what does that snake eat? Like, they don't show any of that. I just wish at one point they would have been like, "Hey, things you don't do with the snake. Don't shine a light on it," and like all this. But the snake must be hungry. Maybe they were like starving it for research.
But he doesn't seem to be eating bodies whole. I think he eats like one or two whole. Otherwise, he just like mutilates people.
It's the head,
it's the head, or like so. Like again, they're still walking around. They see all these like the scientists all beaten up and chewed up, and they're still walking around with a flashlight and a pistol.
I know, and I did like the makeup on the one because it looked like the snake ripped its face up pretty good. But no, the doctor, the scientist, he gets wrapped around, which again, that still looked cool. Like it looked good in the beginning of the movie, and then it makes no sense. So Crystal Allen sees him die. Why does she walk right next to him?
So what I wrote, and I call her Amanda because I think that's where
that's her name in the movie. Yeah.
So she doesn't have a lot of urgency in this movie because there's many times where, like this scene, she sees the guy, the snake wrapping around the guy. Instead of running away, she walks out of the room and stands by the door on a wall. And she does this a few times in the movie where she should be running as fast as she can, as far as she can. She just waits and then goes back in the room to check, is everything okay?
Yeah, well, I would be like in the opposite direction or inside like some panic room or get a weapon that actually can do something.
Yep.
So then Pincus, he was told to get the job done, make sure you get the snake. So he hires like a group of people that are really dirty.
Yep.
It's like this dirty group of people. They're like mercenaries, I guess.
They all look like a character out of a video game. They all have like a certain look to them, and they all look dirty.
So, and then the one guy's name's Grozny. He walks up and he goes, "Hi, my name's Grozny." That's not even a name. But no, so is there enough jobs out there for mercenary killers? Yeah, like is that really like some kind of thing? Maybe, I don't know.
And to be honest with you, they're the worst anaconda killers because they jump twice in the movie. They shoot because they see a pigeon and a rat.
I know.
So if these are your best anaconda killers, they need to go to a new job.
Well, the guy that shoots at the pigeons, I think he even admits he's like scared of snakes. Like he even says that.
I think they're in the wrong line of work. The only one that doesn't seem scared is Hasselhoff.
I know, he's so great. And then we're on him right now when he's in the bar.
So I wrote this down. Unless it was a shadow, I said Hasselhoff has a cheesy mustache. I have to look.
Maybe he's undercover selling the rhino horns. How about that? The price of that escalates so quick. I think it starts at like 10,000, and the guy's like, "I'll give you 15." And he's like, 30, or I'm gonna throw him. He like basically says like 30, or I'll just throw him out. Why would you need him? And then. So he goes. Oh my god! Dude.
So that he gets money.
Yes.
A big envelope in the middle of a bar or a bunch of drunken people, and these two guys follow him, and they kind of corner him. Then he wants his envelope, right?
Yeah.
But in the middle of this, and they're shaking down Hasselhoff, and Hasselhoff looks nervous, and he's like, he's trying, he gets a phone call.
Yes.
So the bad guys wait for his phone call to be over before they do anything.
I know. Wouldn't they just be like, hang up that phone right now? We're going to rough you up.
It reminded me of the old Pink Panther movies when he's fighting with Kato.
Yeah.
And then the phone rings and then they pause the fight for a second. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of.
Yes. And I love when he goes, "Oh, what's your name?" I think I wrote it down here. He goes, "Oh, what's your name?" And the guy's like, "I don't know. I'll make him a name up. Bobby." He's like, "Oh, Bobby, the phone's for you."
That's the name you make up.
I don't know.
Like the most common name you
And he goes, "Oh, Bobby, it's for you." The guy takes the phone. He throws him out the window. This guy's bleeding bad.
I wrote that down. So he gets tossed out the window. I mean, I've never been through a window, but I can't imagine your face would be mutilated the way this guy's face was looking just by getting thrown through the window.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going face.
This episode is brought to you by Skinny Pop Popcorn. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Oh, so light and crunchy. Skinny Pop Original Popcorn is the snack you've been searching for. Made with just 3 simple ingredients: popcorn kernels, sunflower oil, and salt. Snacking never felt or tasted so good. Perfectly popped, endlessly delicious. Give yourself permission to snack and pick up Skinny Pop Original Popcorn today.
First either. I mean, it was like, it was. It looked like he got slashed by Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, it was like an old Western, too, because everybody in the bar went back to what they were doing. So here's one line, and this happens a lot in movies. The movies are written by somebody that's not English, and it gets like translated, but some things stay in there, and they do placeholders. They'll be like, "Oh, let's put in here like in Face Off." There's a line that they just say like microchip thing or something. They forget to take that out. So in this, he goes, "You better go to an ATM teller." I'm like, wait, would you say like one? They're not the same thing. ATM or a bank teller?
Do they have ATMs in the Amazon?
I don't even know. Again, where the hell were they there?
Oh, New Jersey.
That was in Jersey, yes. So,
and by the way, Amanda's now changing to her third outfit at this point.
Oh my god, she's like Superman. She has like a whole like she just changed.
Now she's meeting the dirty guys now, right? At this point, the crew that
yes,
and Bazooka, I think is the guy's name. Is that the black guy? Or the
I thought his name was Nick. Maybe he had a nickname.
Because they said something Bazooka, but he talks about his boxing skills.
Oh my god!
Because I thought he was going to take out this big bazooka because she's in a car with Pincus and the 3 guys.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Why don't you introduce what you're going to do with this Anaconda?" And he said bazooka, so I'm thinking he's going to pull this huge bazooka.
I know.
And he starts talking about his boxing skills, like he's going to box the.
I wrote that, yeah. I'm like, what's going to happen? I was like, I really hope that comes. I really wanted that to come up, that he starts punching him.
You mean like a Jason Manhattan?
Yes, exactly. No, how about the line with so there's the girl in there that looks like a, oh my God.
Don't forget, they gave her a gun. It might have been the smallest pistol I've ever seen. That's what they give her to protect herself.
And then later in the movie, she gives him a little gun, which is pretty funny. But no, how about when the guy goes, okay, we got to make sure there's a 60-foot snake. And the one guy whispers into the little girl that looks like a little boy, like the boy haircut girl.
Yep.
He goes, I got one of those. So they talk about, this one makes no sense because we don't know this happened yet, but they keep talking about 2 snakes.
Yes.
But we didn't know that it gave birth yet.
I know, but I didn't think it did. Honestly, I didn't think it did.
I didn't think so either.
But then later on, you see like 3 snakes.
I know.
I was confused all over. But I guess it gave birth.
Because at that point, she already said there's 2 snakes out there, and then like 30 minutes later, they talk about, the snake's pregnant.
Because I thought they said that they found like this would be a good place for the snake to give birth when they found that older in place. Yep. So like I don't think they gave birth. It was
And then it said they were going to give birth again.
Yeah, I know. Well, how many snakes do come out of a?
I have no idea, but then they said the snakes are going to take over the entire country. I'm like, what's happening?
Maybe it had a snake walker.
Maybe it had a snake walker. No, but why the hell would there be, like, there has to be, I know that snake grows, and I know, I forgot what the time frame was in the beginning. She was like, just weeks ago, the snake was tiny, and then from the genetic testing, it's 60 feet. But come on.
I wrote that down, like that game called Snake, where you eat things and grow. Is that the same thing? So every time it eats, it gets bigger and bigger?
Maybe, but it only eats heads. Right, doesn't eat the rest.
Maybe it grows a head. So, but now we're at the farmer, right?
Yes.
We're at the farmer. So why was the guy poking around, did he hear something? He heard something, correct?
Yeah.
So then he's like poking around his haystack. Like he was looking forever. There was nothing there. Like I was kind of confused what he was looking for, because you didn't hear anything anymore. Like what was he looking for? Like,
I don't know, but the whole beginning part when they showed the goat outside, I'm like, this is Jurassic Park. This is the same scene from Jurassic Park. But no, yeah, and then he's poking around. Like, again, why not have like a little story, like him on the phone with somebody saying, like, yeah, the damn kids are stealing stuff out of the barn again. Something to make sense.
They kept focusing on that, and they were waiting. You were waiting for something to pop out, and nothing popped out. Like, you were waiting.
Dude, the one thing that I hate about this movie, that I really, really hate, that pissed me off.
One thing you hated?
Well, one thing that happened multiple times. Why, when they're doing that whole scene when he's like poking around, why the hell do they cut away to something else? Just finish the scene, because when they go back to it, then he's climbing the ladder.
You kind of lose the little tense.
Yeah, and then he climbs the ladder. The ladder today breaks. The rung snaps. He hits his chin. He falls down. He wakes up. There's a snake above him, eating his legs.
That was a pretty cool scene, even though it's cheesy looking. The fact that he wakes up with a snake, yeah.
But that's what does him in. Not really the snake. Him just laying there and the snake coming
up. I kept
up.
writing down. You keep thinking something's going to happen, and nothing was happening. And they dragged that scene out. Like
snake cam.
It was dragging it out until he falls down.
And that was so many opportunities for a jump scare.
Oh, 100%.
This movie didn't have any of them. I was waiting for it almost. I'm like, I'm not going to jump right now.
They had their own jump scares. Because right after this is when the pigeons, they started unloading on the guns because of the pigeons. So I think they had their own jump scares. They didn't need to give us jump scares.
So I wrote something in here. If they ever did a spoof movie, kind of like when we were talking about Jaws, like the original idea for Jaws 3D was going to be Jaws 3, People Zero, like a National Lampoon movie. This movie, if it was like a comedy, when they get to the house, they're knocking on the door. It'd be really great if the snake was like sitting on the couch, like a hat on, just like pretending to be a person. Obviously, it's 60 feet, so it wouldn't be
like a Goldilocks kind of thing.
Yes. But no, and how about when they're in the Jeeps? How bad is that green screen?
Scenery, the worst. I've never seen a movie like this, but that's why I'm curious. I would love to see what the budget is, because that scenery. Every time they were in the Jeep. Like, to me, that would be the easiest thing. Like, you can't just use regular scenery. Like, I mean, I can understand you need CGI for other things, but you got to CGI the driving.
I know. They actually filmed this in Romania. They filmed this one and the other one in Romania. That's where they filmed it. So why not just do them?
I was going to say, they don't have jungles of woods.
I know. Yeah. Well, obviously they do. Why didn't they just do the old, put it on a trailer so it makes it so nobody...
Yeah. No, that was cheesy. That was real bad.
Oh my gosh. And I love the mercenary guy who is so creepy. Because they talk about snakes, because the snake spit out the goat.
Yep.
And it was like, it only eats things that looks good to him. And the guy looks at her and says, if snake eats things that look good, you better watch out.
Yeah, he turned on the creep real quick.
Ugh. Well, I guess she is a night and day difference between the boy that hangs out with them. But see, that girl that looked like a boy, that haircut, and she was just...
Well, this the stars in the movie died pretty quickly. I mean, at the barn, you lost about 3 of them, right?
Oh, I know.
And then the guy who gets his head eaten, he's still shooting up the car that blows up.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's great.
Is that possible?
I don't know, I guess chickens run with their heads off. Maybe like...
But not a human.
Men with machines.
And he's aiming enough to hit the fuel tank and blow up the car.
Yeah, he hits that, but he couldn't hit the pigeons or anything else. Because there's a lot of times in this movie when they're shooting. Oh my god! So
and we're also there. So the other guy is bleeding out. The guy that it looked like she likes.
Yeah.
Right. How useless was Pincus at this point? He's like panicking, crying. She's trying to save the guy, and he's taking. She goes, go to the car and get the...
the kit. Yeah.
How long did it take him to go to the car? He's arguing with her, get the kit. He couldn't find it. He pretty much killed that guy.
Yeah, and the way that guy died, the snake came from the top of the barn, like the window in the top of the barn, and again, spiked him in the stomach, lifted him up, and then they shot at it. He dropped him on the ground, and you really think this guy's gonna... He has a huge, a basketball-sized hole in his chest, and she's like, "Give me some gauze."
They were arguing more than saving the guy.
I know.
They were arguing back and forth.
But that's when I think the CGI was starting to go downhill. Because it looked kind of, I don't know, you almost could see through it at some points of it.
Yeah. Oh, and then so now the snake comes out. Now this is the other question I had, because this happens a few times. The snake gets awfully close to Amanda.
Yeah.
Never does anything.
I know.
Is it like a King Kong thing? Likes Amanda's, or does it? I thought she had some kind of connection with the snake, because there's a point where the snake is staring literally a few feet in front of Amanda, and Pincus goes, "Don't move." I think she already knew that. She's staring at a snake, but it doesn't do anything to her. Twice. I think it happens twice.
It'd be great if they revealed something like they used her blood or her DNA. Her eggs, maybe. Some kind of connection, or it just remembers her, or maybe do a flashback sequence of them, or something like that.
Yeah, I thought the snake maybe considered her mom or something like that. There was
So I love the mercenaries. This is a great one too. Another line when the guy's screaming and he goes, "Die, you son of a bitch!" They're firing at the snakes. His head gets ripped off, just like that. And then the worst acting, the green screens were bad, but the way they were firing the guns. And some of the guns didn't have the end of the gun where it looks like the sparks at the end.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
I'm not a gun guy, but no, it's just you see two of the guns and the way they're moving them.
The moving them, the sound effects.
They never shot a gun.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Again, these are the professionals.
I know.
So but Hasselhoff does show up now.
Oh yeah.
Minus the mustache, so we have to go back to that. But he does have a line that I wrote down. He goes, "Follow my lead. I'll take you right up the snake's ass."
Yes. Yep, I got that right here too.
And then Pincus decides to stay alone. He doesn't want. So he'd rather stay where all the death and mutilated bodies are, and where the snake was, than to follow everybody else that has the guns and the professional. He stays back.
And when Hasselhoff does show up to save the day, that's some of the worst shooting ever too. It's the way he's shooting that rifle, and then it's revealed that his shot put a tracking device in it.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah. So I mean, had they know where the snake was going before that?
Oh, there was a tracking device, but it was only in the outside layer of the skin.
They didn't explain that Hasselhoff put one in there right away, so they were following the snake around.
I know. He says it later. He goes, "Well, they're like, we can't track it because the skin got shed," and he's like, "Well, I have a tracking device. This one goes through the skin." I'm like, what?
Yep.
So he has this guy that's just a mercenary, pretty much, who is just in a dive bar selling rhino horns, has the money and the technology to buy something that's that advanced.
Yep.
Oh my god! And the CGI snake looks so bad when they're chasing it and going back and forth into the woods, and they're stopping every so often. It just looks so.
And the snake is a 60-foot snake. It's massive. It moves so quietly and stealthily.
It doesn't look 60 feet. It only goes over half the screen, and you're like, that's not 60 feet wide.
But but that might be the babies, because why doesn't the other one go? Because they split up.
Oh yeah,
so that could be the babies. But they never hear the snake coming. They see it when it's far away, but when it sneaks up on them or in a tree or whatever, they never see it coming. It's a very quiet snake.
Oh, I know. Or you'll hear us as the viewer, we see the snake cam, and then we hear the and then But how about when they're sitting in the car? It's Amanda, lady with the boy haircut, and Victor. And Victor gets spit in the face by the snake, right? It's like the venom spit.
I think so. Yeah, I guess.
So he starts screaming,
and
then she starts driving away, trying to get away. And then the car flips. She breaks her leg, which is pretty intense.
Was it her or the guy?
It was the boy haircut.
Oh, it was?
It looked like a guy.
Okay, so this is my favorite part of the movie.
Really?
Because you see the broken leg, you see the bone sticking out, and she goes, I think my leg is broken. The bone is sticking out of her leg, and she goes, I think my leg is broken.
You think? And then this is again, like I talked about, the water. The budget is the water in the bucket. The bucket's getting empty because the CGI of her getting eaten, she was just shaking back and forth.
Yep. And again, the snake comes by Amanda again. I wrote down, and ignores Amanda again. Doesn't feel like eating her.
Maybe it was full.
Yep.
but it doesn't really eat. I don't know.
The only thing they don't explain is why does Amanda keep having flashbacks?
Oh, dude. No, I wrote that. Why is she having flashbacks from 10 minutes ago?
Yeah. So, like, they don't explain that. Like, there's, like, again, I don't know if there was a connection with I thought maybe she had a connection with the Anaconda. They don't explain that. There's always a flashback with her.
Yeah.
And not even, like, years ago. It's like the day.
I know. I just saw that. Maybe they needed the movie to make it past 100, an hour and 25 minutes. Because that made no sense because I was pissed. I'm like, dude, we didn't cut to commercial break or this is the last week's episode.
Yep. And now you're in like, at least more than midway there.
Yeah.
And now they explain why he has a sharp tail. They explain it in this like.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah. So they genetically, I guess. I mean, they don't really explain it. But they explain something with they talk about the sharp tail.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally missed that whole sharp tail. So when Amanda's still in the car, like you said, the snake was looking at her and then went away. Then the car just randomly starts on fire. Yeah. It was already laying there.
Yeah.
The technology with like when it comes to like cars in movies, do they not understand when a car just flips over outside? It doesn't start on fire. What's going to combust it? Unless the snake like threw a match.
Maybe it was a Kia.
Maybe it was a Kia. So how about when Crystal's running from the snake? This is when then the snake's like, oh, I want to eat
Crystal,
her.
the boy?
Amanda.
Okay.
So Amanda is running and she's like, the snake's probably like, oh, I should be eating her.
Yeah.
And then she trips, falls in the mud, and it's like that predator moment.
Yep.
She's laying against a tree. She's not fully covered with mud, so I'm sure some of her body heat would be showing because that's how snakes. But I don't know, man.
And they asked, I guess, Pincus to stay back and cover. You trust this guy?
No.
At this point? Like,
I'm surprised he didn't leave.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. He's the guy he's like the Newman of Jurassic Park. Like, you would have thought he was.
Oh, I know. Yeah, just like I was going to say Paul Reiser in Aliens.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. Like, he is all about himself.
Yep.
God, and then Hasselhoff again. Like, there's so much bad fake firing of guns in this movie. It just. And then he shows them shoot. Oh, this is when he shoots the snake. They do a super zoom in on the snake getting shot, and you see the blood pouring out.
Yeah.
It just looks bad.
That CGI was horrendous.
I get why it's hard to do it, but like that's where the budget should go. Obviously, David Hasselhoff probably got paid a pretty penny, and Crystal Allen, but God, man, like that's where the money should go. Because if the snake looks great, you could have you and me in it, and it would still look good because the kills would look legit.
Sure. Now, are they in the house yet? When they're unloading on the dead body that was next door, again they were shooting at. They weren't sure what was in the next room, and they just turn around and start unloading again. Again, these are the professionals that basically just they never hit the snake. They hit everything else but the snake.
They're trigger happy.
They really are. They remind me of that scene in Police Academy when they go to the glass.
Oh, the lamp store.
The lamp store.
Yeah,
and they just start unloading everywhere.
Yep. So here's something I wrote down about the flashbacks. So a lot of times in movies and TV shows, they make a mistake with this. So you can only have flashbacks in life of moments that you've been part of. She has a flashback of Daryl dying. She wasn't in the room. She was changing.
Yeah.
And he's getting like spiked through the chest. It was Murdoch, Pincus, Daryl dying.
Maybe she got changed in the corner.
Maybe. But that's weird. Every other flashback she was there for, like she was in it, but not that one. That made no sense.
Yeah.
And this is where I wrote down what I was talking about earlier. Can you just call the army?
Yeah.
Can you just say like, I think we should call the army now. Okay, let me call the army.
But why? They had pistols and a guy that boxes, so they had enough. What they needed. I mean, Amanda and the black guy decided to go take on a snake alone.
Yeah.
First of all, why is Amanda still going after this? I mean, like, why is she not? She's lucky she escaped twice. She's still gonna go?
I wouldn't. I would just.
I would have left the minute the snake escaped the first time. I'm done. I'm a scientist. I'm not. Why are they hanging around?
I know. That's when I would call the army.
Yeah.
So what do? You call the army, pretend you're the army, and I'm calling. Hello, is this the army?
Yes.
I need help. There's a giant snake on the loose.
Oh, call an exterminator.
Okay. That's what I mean. And it'd be like, how do you make that phone call? Wouldn't they at first you actually be like, wait, a 60-foot snake? That's not possible.
First of all, I wouldn't believe it.
Is this a prank phone call?
Yeah, right.
Or are you going to tell me Prince Edward's in a can? Like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Is it Prince Edward in a can?
Prince Albert.
Prince Albert is in a can.
Prince Edward is in here. That's a little problem. That's a problem. Prince Albert.
And then, so this is where the first time I wrote it down. The snake is pregnant. Because I know that they must have talked about it before because we mentioned it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And then I remember, who's the dad? I want a Maury Povich reveal.
See, that would have been good.
That would have made it to my Maury and Hasselhoff in a scene. David Hasselhoff.
You are not the snake's father.
Oh, God. And then there's so many bad snake sound effects. And you know what? Slow-mo, they just need to stop doing it. Because there was so much slow-mo when they showed the snake. Oh, my God. I think it's when are they finally at where they think the snake is at the end of the movie?
Right. They're at the house. But she gets a gun. Now she gets another gun. And they're joking around. No, she gives...
The guy a little gun.
So, everybody you pretty much knew in the last 45 minutes just died. Pretty much.
Yeah.
You have time to joke around now?
I know.
I mean, and she gives the big boy, I guess the black guy the gun.
Yeah.
Like, here. No, I was only kidding.
It's like,
are you kidding?
This is a moment for right now. And then just around this, Pincus, he gets gored up by the snake.
Yeah.
What was he doing? Why would they trust him in any situation? Obviously, he deserved to die because, well, did he? I don't know.
And they're looking in the basement like they're looking for a human. They're looking around corners. This is a 60-foot snake.
Yeah.
I mean, what would they expect this to happen if the snake just showed up in front of them? Like, come on.
I don't know. Honestly, one guy was going to try to box.
Yeah, I don't.
But how about when the snake, so they see the snake at one point, I think it's just before this, after Pincus dies, the snake they see dives into water and it's going towards the city. And I'm like, dude, are we at the scene of the snake just at an amusement park, just ripping people up or
going
something?
on the subway or
whatever? Yeah. On the subway.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? A snake on the subway would be better than some of the people that are on there. Hey-o!
Hey!
So, again, she has the tiny pistol again, and she's going to attempt to kill a 60-foot snake. Yeah. Why wouldn't they have bigger guns?
That's I don't, again, what is a pistol going to do? It's going to bounce off the snake.
So then they see snake's blood on the sink, and she's like, and I know Nick goes, oh, that's good. That means it's here. It looked like the snake was washing its hands. It was right on the inside of the sink. But no, it just makes no sense just how they put these I understand they need to kill the snake. I get that. But why do they have to go into this dark?
Yeah.
Wouldn't they just surround it and wait for it to come out? At least you can keep the snake in there. Why would you go into somewhere that you can pop out from?
Of course. Again, with a pistol. And she's not military. She's a scientist. What does she know? What does she think she's going to do? That's what I want to know. What's her plan of action? What is she going to do if she confronts the snake again? What's her game plan?
I don't know. Maybe it was one of those moments when they show the lions, when a guy raises a lion from a cub and then sees it 10 years later in the wild and they hug each other. I didn't know what kind of moment we were going to get.
I know.
But we got another one of the moments that I hated was the dragged out scene. So they're walking in the basement and just popping, looking around every corner. They're kicking in doors like in the movies with the bathroom stalls.
Well, they needed another 10 minutes. They needed filler, so this was definitely filler.
And then he sees the rats. He shoots up the rats. And then you're like, oh, is something going to happen? No, let's cut to Hasselhoff.
Yep.
And the other guy walking.
That was between them two walking in there, it was such a long scene. It was and it was pointless.
And when they showed Hasselhoff, they only showed him for 35, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And he was talking to that guy. And then they cut back. And then Nick gets killed.
Yeah. And he says run.
Yeah.
And what does she do? She goes around the corner and waits again. She doesn't run. She never runs. She waits.
But he was badass. He was doing that really cool, he's going to sacrifice himself.
Yep.
He takes the grenade. The baby snake bites his hand where he just pulled the grenade.
Yeah.
And then obviously
the snake
blows up.
Yeah. The snake grabs his hand. Yeah. Yep.
And then Hasselhoff and the guy, they show up.
The punching sounds, though, when they start fighting, you hear, it's reminding me of Batman. The old Batman shows, pow, and it was ridiculous.
But when they're running into the building, when they first hear the first grenade thing, it's I was hoping they would turn on the slow-mo for that, of Hasselhoff running with the guy. When they see Amanda, and they're like, what happened? Oh, Nick's dead. He got eaten by the snake. The snake's here. And then I know where the guy gets shot in the chest.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell just shot them? Were you expecting this?
Yeah.
This turn?
Yeah.
You thought Hasselhoff was a bad guy?
No, not at all.
Oh,
but I was, to be honest with you, I didn't know what his motives were. Just because he's in for money. So why is he going at, I don't know. I wasn't too sure if he was a bad guy, but I wasn't sure he was a good guy.
So just before Hasselhoff gets in there and he shoots the guy, they show Murdoch.
Yes.
He gets a phone call. The secretary goes, let me get him. And he goes, Tell him to call me on the other. I'm going to call him on the other line. I'm like, all right. He calls him for like a burner phone. So he's on a phone with a guy that. Did we see this guy before?
No.
Okay, good.
And you don't see him again, right? Or do you see him again?
He drives past Amanda.
That's it. Like they don't really. Again, they don't explain. Like there's a lot of non-explaining in this movie.
But he says a line that blew my fucking mind. I'm not kidding. He says it's all going according to plan.
What's the plan?
That's what I mean. What was the plan? Was the whole plan for him to shine the light on the snake so he just starts murdering people?
But for what purpose?
That's what
it doesn't. Yeah.
They mentioned we kind of skipped over it earlier, but when they mention earlier in the movie, Amanda says, "Did you notice he's a little shaky and he lost a lot of weight? He probably has some kind of cancer or something." So maybe that is what the research is for.
Oh, it is. No, they do talk about that.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like that when he says it's all according to the plan.
Yeah. Like I said, they just started going all off, and you don't realize what they're doing.
How about when Hasselhoff grabs Amanda really close, and he goes, "You know what? There's 3 options. There's 3 ways that this can go." He's like, "I can let the snake eat you. I can kill you, then let the snake eat you. Or I can cut you in. Or you get a job as a research scientist and a cool new job." And he talks about 10 million. And she's like, "Do you think I can get some of that 10 million?
I think she was very good in this whole movie. That one part, though, like, it seems so obvious. She was not, like, it's so ridiculous.
But he's like, "Yeah, I think we can negotiate that." And then she kicks him in the balls. And the fight scene, it was cool.
It was. I mean, yeah. The sound effects, though, were ridiculous.
It was the first fight scene that we really got in the whole movie. And you don't expect that when you see a movie when the snake is...
He beats up people at the bar.
So he does, yeah.
Yeah.
But when he closed fist punches her in the face, and I'm like, holy shit, this is intense. And then she grabs a lead pipe, beats the shit out of him. And then he's going to stab her. Yeah. And then she turns a knife on him and stabs him in the stomach.
She's a scientist.
She is.
She's a scientist who knows karate, shoots a gun, is a snake charmer or tamer. What is she? Like, she's a badass.
She does everything. One great Hasselhoff line in this is after she kicks him in the nuts, he says, "So you want to play?" And then, so the CGI snake looks so bad right here. So at this point, she grabs like a bomb that has like a 60-second timer.
Where was that?
I don't know.
It was just sitting there, right? I mean, I don't remember anyone walking around with that, so it was just sitting there.
Again, why don't they throw... That's what I hate when they forget things like that. Like when they were grabbing the weapons out of the car, her and Nick, have her like want to grab that or something, or the guy's like, "Oh, don't worry about it," and she grabs it anyway. Like some kind of throwing, so we're like, "Oh, that makes sense," because it doesn't. It was just sitting there. So boom, he puts it down. Hasselhoff's bleeding. The snake stays there. The snake knows so much in this movie, but it doesn't know that panic is happening, or he doesn't follow Amanda. Wouldn't the snake think like, "Oh, I'm going to eat Hasselhoff"? Or
I'm never let anyone out of his sight. Yeah. So she's not in a hurry, so she walks out slow motion.
I love it.
Typical action movie.
Yes.
The snake that.
I wrote the bomb goes off. She did the cool guys don't look at explosions.
She does the cool Nicolas Cage, slow walk with the fire burning behind her.
So then we see the guy that was on the phone with Murdoch saying everything's according to plan. He walks in there. The place does not look like it just exploded. Right?
Correct.
There was some burnt stuff on, things thrown on the ground, but fairly it looked good. And there's a snake there. A little snake.
Tiny snake. So is that the baby?
I don't know.
Or did the snake shrink to, they don't explain that.
So we saw the other baby before that ate the guy's arm.
Correct.
How long?
But what are the babies though? Maybe there were another anacondas out there. I can't imagine there's only one anaconda, considering the anaconda was pregnant. They don't explain it.
So from when the snake eats Daryl in the beginning, how far after this do you think it is? An hour? 2 hours?
Not even.
Because everything happens so fast. So you're telling me that other snake, the snake gave birth to that snake that ate Nick's arm and then the grenade, and then another snake came out?
But is a snake going to be that small? Coming out of a 60-foot anaconda, you can have a normal-sized garden snake? Like that's going to be the size of the baby? I don't think so.
I don't know. There's big fat people on like My 800-Pound Life. Do they have 100-pound babies? 50-pound babies?
I don't know. Have you ever seen one give birth?
Oh, no.
That'd be a good movie.
Yeah. So the whole time Murdoch wanted a baby.
Did you say 100-pound life?
800 pounds.
Oh, I said 100.
100 pounds. I would be like, oh my God, 100 pounders. So Murdoch just wanted a baby snake. Like, that was his plan. He had a really big one. So I don't know what the baby, maybe it's just easier to extract or work with and get all of the cancer.
But then what? They don't want to explain the genetics of having a sharp knife tail and all that stuff. Like, they don't want to explain that then. Like, what's the point of keeping a big one just for the baby? Then why did they do any genetic testing on it?
I know, it's almost like, and they never did like the Jurassic Park thing. Like, oh my God, we made a grave mistake. Right. We shouldn't have mixed this gene.
And nothing happens to Murdoch.
Nothing. And then Amanda, she's sitting on the side of the...
Yeah, this fade away. I don't like...
So when she's sitting she drives one of the Jeeps off. She starts a little fire. And she's burning what looks like, obviously, from chemistry class, like little
blueprints.
Diagram. Yeah.
It was blueprints.
It look like copies of paper.
Yeah.
and she's burning like whatever it is, like the compounds, the chemical compounds. She has them on her at all times that she knows, like, hey, if I burn these, nobody will know how to make
Well, it
snakes.
depends on what outfit she's wearing.
That's true. That's her chemical compound paper outfit. Yeah. But no, that made no sense. And the other guy drives past her. Wouldn't that guy be instructed by Murdoch? Because I think the whole idea maybe was, hey, I want to do this research, but I don't want all these people to know
maybe
it.
She's working with them. I mean, considering she had a connection with the Anacondas, maybe she's been working with them the whole time.
That'd be pretty mind-blowing, but I don't think so. There is another one with all of these people in it.
Same people?
The next one's Crystal Allen. Murdoch's in the next one. But no, the thing wouldn't he have told that guy, like, hey, make sure everybody's dead. And he drives right past her. Yeah. And he would have to know. He would have to get like intel, like, here's who works at the facility.
Right.
I want them all dead.
Right.
But just to put it all in the snake's hand, like, it's almost like the snake works with him and he's like, hey, make sure we take everyone out. But then he kills the snake. But then the end of the movie, when they fade out right there, just made no sense.
I was waiting for something else to happen. Like, maybe another snake come by or something. Nothing. Yeah.
So that's the Anaconda 3, and we're just as confused as you are, as we sound. No, I know.
I was confused. I was so confused this whole movie. I've never seen anything like this.
I never did either. Just we've seen movies that are low budget, and we've seen movies that are like I don't want to say there is a good movie here.
There was a mix. There was like a mix of a budget, and it looked like they had a budget for the first half of the movie, and they lost half the budget for the second half.
Yeah,
or something. And yes, there's definitely a movie here. I just think the movie again. We're gonna go back. What would change? I would definitely explain more about what's going on in earlier, so you have an idea. I really had no idea throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, talk about the snake being pregnant. Talk about the genetics.
Talk about the center, the research center. Why? First of all, talk about where they are. Are they in Jersey? Are they in Amazon? We don't know.
Yeah, no, that made no sense. At least like those little things, or there's a lot of like just the plot holes in the way things were put together. Because again, why is she having flashbacks from things that we just saw 10 minutes ago?
Correct.
And why is she having a flashback of something that she wasn't there for? That makes no sense.
They didn't explain one flashback, so they don't explain that part at all. Again, she's more involved in the movie than we understand her to be.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what it is. So whether she's working with Murdoch or whether she has a connection with these anacondas and she has some kind of, she's more involved, but maybe there's deleted scenes that explain a little bit more about her, or is she more involved in the next one? Did you see the next one or no?
I did not see it, but she is the star of that one now.
Okay.
So she's probably the main person.
Maybe they explain a little bit more about her connection with the anacondas.
So I think we said it perfect. Well, I said it before. This is a sci-fi network movie.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
There you go. Because you know what? The CGI
looked like it.
Very much looked like a sci-fi.
Yeah. So I'm looking up the budget right now just so we can find out what it was. But sometimes those movies don't have the budget on it because it didn't go into the movie theater. So while I'm looking this up, what would you have changed? What do you think would have made it?
Well, like I said, I would do a little bit more explaining. I would explain why is Murdoch so interested in this facility and the research of the anacondas. So that's one. You got to throw that in the beginning of the movie so you have an idea of what they're doing. I would again talk about Amanda a little bit more. Why does she have this connection? Why are these anacondas not? There's got to be a connection between the flashbacks and her. And then lastly, more Hasselhoff.
Yeah,
you got to have more Hasselhoff. I mean, I think if you're gonna have Hasselhoff like kind of starring in a movie and being a badass. You need more Hasselhoff.
No, I know. Yeah, you know, it would be really cool, like more scenes if there was some deleted scenes from this. But I don't know if there are because it's like a Sci-Fi Channel movie. I don't know if they put a DVD out that has that. But I would love like him like dealing other stuff at the bar. Like he's got rhino horns, I don't know, like lion tails. But just the way he was like so nonchalant about it. Again, wide open.
Yeah.
They're just doing it in the back of the bar.
Passing
30 grand and rhino horns.
Yeah. I mean, but I could see this movie. You want to go to a cheesy level, like I could see him like jumping on the back of an anaconda, like riding it as like trying to tackle it. I mean, yeah, again, it's one of those movies where there's a following. There's a following for these type of movies.
Yeah.
If you love, Shark, like I said, I've never seen Sharknado, but if you love Sharknado, I'm assuming this is very similar type of acting, type of movie. You're gonna love it. I mean, I've never seen the Anaconda movie, so I don't know what to compare it to.
So it's crazy. Like when you look at you can only see the budgets for the first two because they had a theatrical release. First one came out in April of '97, $45 million budget.
It's a pretty big budget.
Yeah, made worldwide $136 million.
Did it star anyone like
Jennifer Lopez, Ice Cube?
Oh wow, okay.
Angelina Jolie's father.
Oh, John Voight. Okay.
Yeah, he has a really bad accent in
it. Usually his movie.
So then 7 years later, they're like, hey, the first one did great. Let's do another one. $25 million budget. Worldwide, $70 million. So that's why they were and then 4 years later, they're like, hey, let's do another one. And then maybe nobody wanted to distribute it into the theaters. But no, these movies obviously do something.
They do, but, you're talking about a snake movie. What more can you do with a snake? I feel like, one, you're lucky you get a second one out of it. But if you're going past that, a snake's going to slither, it's going to grow, it's going to eat you. I mean, really, there's not much more you can do with a snake.
No, it's not. That's what I mean. It can wrap up. This one, obviously, they added in the thing that it can spear people. But other than that, it's just eating.
Yeah, so thinking you could pull a third one out of this was a little stretching it, I think.
Yeah, the first one did more of like the fear of the snake going to eat, and then...
Well, how many horror movies out there have a huge snake? So, I mean, I get it. And that's, that's probably why you were able to get a star power with that, Well, they did Snakes on a Plane, though, too.
And they did Anaconda versus Lake Placid, which why did they name that movie? They made sequels to that too.
Is that a sci-fi?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. But why would they name it versus Lake Placid? It should be like Anaconda versus alligator or crocodile.
And they made multiple ones of those?
Oh, they made multiple. Yeah, there's a big thing for this. All right, so that's Anaconda 3. Next movie that we're going to be covering is a classic. I owned it on VHS growing up, and I wore the crap out of it. I watched it so many times, and it's Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls. And man, Jamie got 2 great interviews for this one. So next week, the interview is going to be with Maynard Iziashi. I'm probably butchering that. He was the one that played Ace's right-hand man. He was the translator in the movie. He was great. And then the Monday after, we actually interviewed the actor Damon Standiford. He played the Wachati Chief. So Ace Ventura 2, it's going to be a lot of fun. So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only and our new website, sequelsonly.com, where you can request a sequel that you want us to review. Good night.